You've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail. I firmly believe that the entire Digimon level system is wrong. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video. And the clickbaiting, I'm just kidding. It's not really clickbait, but I get it. It's annoying. That's just the YouTube game. However, I am going to actually prove the video title and thumbnail does reflect a genuine view I have. If you're a Digimon fan, at this point, you're probably familiar with one of two level systems for Digimon. If you're more of a hardcore fan or just watch the JP or other international versions, you'll know the level system as Baby to Baby 2 to Child to Adult to Perfect and then Ultimate. And those are all fine names, though I do have umbrage with them. And if you're more familiar with the US English dub like I am, you're going to be familiar with Baby, In Training, Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, and Mega. And that's also, I think, pretty good, but also has a similar amount of problems to the JP version. There are also other dubs I am now familiar with. For example, in the German dub, the Ultimate or Perfect level is instead called Ultra, which caused some confusion in the comments on my video recently about Ultra Evolutions or Super Ultimate Evolutions for the Digimon Adventure Mega Digimon. But I think whether we look at the Japanese or American English dub, they both represent an innate dissonance with Digimon levels. As originally in the VPET and indeed things like Digimon World, these stages were supposed to represent a Digimon's age, a Digimon's life cycle, with the Digimon going from a baby to kind of a toddler to a child, an adult, and then a perfect. Should this be called like middle-aged? And indeed those VPET and Digimon World representing the entire life cycle of a Digimon, with Digimon staying at the level they were at, digivolving higher, and then eventually dying and being reborn. However, once we get to things like Digimon V-Tamer the manga, Digimon Adventure the show, and right up to today with Digimon Liberator and the card game, it's clear to me that levels are more so treated as power levels in most media. I'm not here to say that the age system is gone, it's obviously still there in the VPETs, but I think when we look at these other media, anime, manga, and card game, you start to see how that age system doesn't really factor in. In the anime, Agumon doesn't get older to become Greymon, he just becomes Greymon to fight stronger threats, when he becomes Metal Greymon and War Greymon. And you can really tell that age system is not relevant in things like the manga and the anime and the card game, because you can scale up Champion, Ultimate, Mega, Ultra, but then also BD Digivolve, whether because a battle has ended like in the manga and anime, or because of effects of the cards in the card game. If it was an age system in the card game, Digimon would just be stuck at their highest level until they died. Same in the anime, Agumon would warp Digivolve to War Greymon and then just be stuck there. So I do think it's perhaps time that we looked at Digivolution outside of the age system. The age system can still absolutely be a thing in things like the VPETs, but it's clear it's become this mix of age and power. Especially looking at Digimon V-Tamer, we can see how Zeromaru Vidramon is often considered to be more powerful than his stage. If this was just about age, that wouldn't be a factor. It wouldn't matter how powerful he was as an adult or as a champion, because it's just purely about age, but it's very clear in that manga that these stages are more about power. So how could we unify the Japanese and the English side as well as other territories? I think a big problem now is that there's a lot of confusion. People are like, wait, I thought that was an ultimate, but it is an ultimate in Japanese, or it's an ultimate in the dub. I think Digimon needs to, in general, have a unified thing going forward. So while I like names like Omnimon and Burning Greymon, I think there perhaps should be some kind of reset back to a unity. And it may even be that the creative teams actually prefer some English dub names and go with those, but things like Omnimon, yeah, he should probably just be called Omegamon going forward in all media. So how do we fix that for the level system? Well, my first thought, if we're going strictly with an age-based system, is instead of Baby, Baby 2, Child, Adult, Perfect, Ultimate, because what does Perfect and Ultimate mean in terms of age? The revision instead would be Baby, Toddler, Child, Adult, Middle-aged, and Senior, but it's very funny to call Venusmon a senior. I do think it is probably intended that Mega is something like a senior Digimon though, because when we look at Digimon like Digimon and Babamon, they're kind of like the ultimate, the oldest Mega Digimon in terms of appearance. And I have been dancing around it, but I actually have problems with both the JP and the English dub terminology. In the English dub, Ultimate being after Champion causes needless confusion when the Japanese name for Mega is Ultimate. I don't mind them having different names, but it's definitely caused a lot of confusion in the franchise and in the fandom when we have two different stages referred to as Ultimate in different languages. And when a lot of Digimon media is translated Japanese media, that causes even more confusion. The word Ultimate also implies the end. The definition literally being or happening at the end of a process, final. Basically the best something can be, but that's not true in the dub as we go to Mega. This kind of implies that Mega is almost like what we call Ultra, Super Ultimate, or Level 7 back in the day. It's like beyond the end. end, right? It's the afterlife almost. But now, of course, we know that Mega is not the end or not the additional stage of evolution after Ultimate. Ultra or Super Ultimate is. But I also think, and this is controversial, that the Japanese term for the Ultimate level, Perfect, is also kind of bad too. The reason it's called Perfect is that back in the day when Digimon was first existing in VPETs, they ended at the Perfect level. Perfect literally was perfect. The definition of perfect being having all the required or desirable elements, qualities of characteristics, as good as it is possible to be, or absolute and complete. A lot of Digimon sub-defenders, and I think quite rightly, will say that perfect is a better term than ultimate for that stage, for your Metal Greymons, your Were-Garurumons, but neither of them are good, because clearly Were-Garurumon becomes Metal Garurumon. It's not perfect by definition because it goes further, it gets better. It's also not an ultimate, because to be ultimate would imply the end, and yet it goes further to Mega, and Mega also is a little bit more of a loose definition, a little bit more of a loose descriptor, just meaning very large or huge or extremely. It definitely could imply going beyond, but still not great. At least in the JP, we have perfect, which you can't improve upon perfection, and then ultimate implying the end, but then of course we have super ultimate now too. This is why I actually really like the card game level system. In Training Digimon hatch at level 2, which is the lowest level we get in the card game aside from like blank levels, but does still theoretically mean that their baby 1 stage would be a level 1 if level 1 cards existed. Rookies are level 3 and so on up to Mega, which is level 6. And then we have Digimon beyond Mega like Omnimon, which are level 7s, cementing a really good example of ultra level super ultimate Digimon existing at their own level. Something we see in things like Digimon Cyber Sleuth, but it's still kind of a fringe term, a fringe level, but it's nice to see level 7 existing so heartily in the card game. That is not me saying that it's only ever existed in the card game, which is literally not what I said on that Digimon Adventure Ultra video to the very vocal minority of people who can't parse basic English. Thank you so much for watching though, I appreciate you so much. The numerical level system also works to keep age and power level tied in Digimon Evolution. As while in the card game there isn't really an age system, it's still advancing in literal numbers much like we do as humans when we age, but a power level could also be seen like leveling up, like one would do in an RPG, or indeed specifically a tabletop RPG, which yes, you can gain levels through encounters and things like that, but also characters will naturally level up as they age in most tabletop RPGs. So that's what I would do if I was Digimon Creative going forward. I would do a radical overhaul and focus on the level system. It already exists in the card game, it exists in some other media, and would just remove that little bit of awkwardness between sub and dub names. I do think as we're unifying the card game, for example, in Japan and outside of Japan, it would also be a good time to unify Digimon names, terminology, and things like that, and make things a little bit less complicated. For example, if you look at Armor Digimon, a lot of them in the card game are treated as level 4s, champions, though some aren't. In the Digimon reference book, they could, instead of being like question mark, and armors, just be listed as level 4s and armors, indicating their power level is on par with a champion, generally, but they are also the armor subclass, or the armor category. This would then also work for Digimon that are much stronger, like Magnamon X Antibody, Magnamon X Antibody Gold Digizoid. You could put them as level 6s or even level 7s if you wanted to, but still have the armor subheading. It would create a clear distinction in power level between certain armor Digimon, which we are lacking. One of the most common comments I get on Armor Digivolution videos, people going, well, isn't Nefertimon more like an ultimate? And it's like, well, no, not really, because Gatomon lost her tailoring, making her power on par with a rookie, which means Nefertimon and Pegasusmon are kind of on par as champion level, but maybe they're a little bit stronger than champion, but maybe not quite as strong as ultimate. It's confusing. You just make them both level 4-armor, works great. However, I do have one other idea, and that would be the byte or the bit system. Now, before someone says anything, I know in some Digimon media, G or gigabytes were used to refer to a Digimon's weight. We don't have to eradicate that, but we could also introduce a data size level system to Digimon. Data is often measured in bytes, yes, but also in bits. Bits being the smallest possible unit of digital information, whereas a byte is a collection of 8 bits. So if we're going to measure Digimon weight in bytes, we could still measure their power and their age in bits. Now, yes, bits were also used as currency in Digimon media before, but this doesn't need to interfere with Digimon levels, as they can simply share names. If we're looking at digital worlds, an informal currency name being called a bit doesn't necessarily have to equate to a technical definition of bits for Digimon. Think of it like a magazine, aka readable material, but also the term magazine for a gun. They likely share root words and logic, but are two different things united by being homophones. Two words that sound the same, not the other thing. That's why I like the idea of Digimon being measured in bits, kilobits, megabits, etc. On a basic level, a baby 1 being a bit level is a super cute name. It's a little bit, but it also allows for great escalation up to what we would call an ultra or super ultimate or level 7, and even somehow beyond if need be. There are definitely definitely Digimon I think in existence that could arguably go up to what we might call a level 8. Jesmon GX, for example. There's already a Jesmon X rivaling a level 6, level 7, so maybe Jesmon GX could be a level 8. But on top of that, you could, if you really desired, add numbers to this bit naming convention. This would explain how Digimon of the same level can vary so wildly in power. Veedramon being a champion beating ultimate levels in the manga is, yes, sure, a connect to the age system, but also very clearly was supposed to demonstrate how strong Veedramon in V-Tamer 0 is supposed to be in comparison to your average champion, meaning he might have just a really high bit level in comparison to other champions. So let's, for example, take two Mega Digimon, Wargreymon and Marine Angemon. They would, in this scenario, both be Exabit level, but Wargreymon is typically depicted as a lot more powerful than Marine Angemon. So perhaps Marine Angemon would be a 100 Exabit Digimon, and Wargreymon could be a 500 Exabit Digimon, up to a max of 1000, as that would bring it up to the next level. But honestly, you can already probably tell that's getting pretty confusing, right? Level systems on top of a numerical level system doesn't really fix anything, it just makes it a power scaler's dream. So I ultimately think that actually the level system from the card game is the best thing we've got going. Level 1 theoretically existing, level 2, level 3, so on. Digimon or digital life forms that don't have levels because they're not Digimon, like Yggdrasil, like the D-Reaper. I do really like my bit system idea. I think it would be simplistic and really tie back to the idea of digital life forms in Digimon, but there is something so compelling about the level system in the card game. It's what I kind of use to refer to Digimon now in a less professional manner. I'll go like, oh, Agumon's a level 3, Wargreymon's a level 6, Omnimon's a level 7. It just makes things so much easier. You don't have to mentally picture like, okay, so ultimate, is that ultimate or is that ultimate perfect? You don't have to go, so is Delumon a pre-evolution? Like, can we use it as a pre-evolution for Ceresmon? Yes, because it's a level 5 and Ceresmon is a level 6. It's so black and white, it's right in front of you, and I think that's one of the greatest things the card game has done. So Bandai Namco, if you're watching this going forward, here's what I would say. If you are looking to simplify and make things a little bit less complicated for international fans, just use the JP terms. I am someone who is incredibly guilty of using the dub terms because it's what I'm familiar with, and I like a lot of the names in the dubs. I've done videos about it before. But if we do want more brand synergy, more brand unity, let's just call everything child, adult, perfect, ultimate, and so on. However, if you really want to shake things up going forward and completely rejuvenize the Digimon reference book, my personal opinion, and maybe a lot of you don't share that, and that's fine, this is just my opinion, just me sounding off, is that the level system from the card game works really well. It's easy to pass. It allows for escalation above level 7 and level 8. Theoretically, if we want to power creep crazily, you can go to as many levels as you wanted. Don't do that, Bandai! As I said, it also works in a video game sensibility. You see levels in all sorts of media, including Digimon, meaning that it still feels like a data thing, but doesn't abandon the age system that has been part of Digimon since the very start. And like I say, the age system has been left aside slightly, really only being a VPET and world game function at this point, but it's still important and not something that should be ignored, so a level system still could be an age thing. He is level 1, he is small, he's level 2, he's a little bigger. Level 3, he's a child. Level 4, he's an adult, he can buy beer. So all that is to say, this long-ass rambling video, either go for my crazy fanfiction idea, or I just really like the level system from the Digimon card game. Thank you to my sovereign ZDK14 for supporting me over on patreon.com/Karn EX, as well as all my other patrons over there. I appreciate you all so goddamn much. And thank you to my channel members here on YouTube. All of you make it possible for me to do silly rants like this, talking about Digimon levels, maybe informing you on some stuff you weren't aware of, or just bringing conversation. That's what I want to do here. I'm not here to actually say that I am the arbiter, I know anything about this stuff. I just want to open up conversation and talk about how I feel about certain things in the Digimon fandom, and that's what this video is all about. Some people are going to still say it's clickbait, but if you watch the video, is it? Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.